Okay. First off, let me start by saying I have the Sandy Hook report, the 44-page report that was released for the public. There's a full in-depth report that's several thousand pages long that goes over every minute nook and cranny. That is not being released as of now, but 5 years from now, who knows? Now, I'm reading the report now. Be honest, I'm not reading the whole thing word for word. I'm skimming through some of it because it goes into they'll talk about the shootings, and then a couple of pages later they'll talk about the shootings again, but in greater detail. So a lot of stuff is repetitive. I am going to point out some things and outline some things when I get done reading it, get done summarizing it. That's coming forward in maybe a week or two. But yeah, and I'm going to give some advice on that. But right now, I have something else I want to talk about. Oh, by the way, yesterday when I'm going home from work after the first shift, and in front of me there's a bumper sticker with a Native American on it. We are still here. And I look out, and there's a Native American in front of me. I've only seen like 4 Native Americans in my life. There's one in front of me. Oh, God. Anyway, speaking of, a lot of Native Americans are not here on the East Coast. It's very, very rare to find one on the East Coast because we kicked them out and they went over to the West Coast in the central area of the United States. Yeah. The government told the Native Americans, listen, surrender your assault rifles and we'll protect you. Didn't work out that well, so. Now, Emperor Bloomturd, he is leaving on December 31st. Actually, he's leaving at 11:59 a.m. on January 1st. But he's being replaced by a communist, Bill de Blasio, so nothing to cheer about. Now, I will put a link below to a video about gun confiscation, where New York City confiscated guns from citizens in 1991, and that is the basis for the SAFE Act. Oh, by the way, the SAFE Act hearing in January. That's the update. So, yeah. Now, circa November 18th of this year, 2013, the New York City Police Department sent out a confiscation letter. This is a photocopy of one. It appears that you are in possession of a rifle and/or shotgun listed below that has an ammunition feeding device capable of holding more than 5 rounds of ammunition. Rifles and shotguns capable of holding more than 5 rounds of ammunition are unlawful to possess in New York City as per Administrative Code blah blah blah. Here are the options. Immediately surrender your rifle and/or shotgun to your local police precinct and notify this office of the invoice number. That means I go to the precinct, and I know because I'm not giving up my rifles, but slaves go to the precinct. Okay, and the slaves go to the precinct and they tell the officer, here's my gun, and they get a receipt and they photocopy the receipt and send it into here, to this office. Permanently remove the rifle and the shotgun from the city, send it away, give it to someone outside the city, but have a notarization that you did it, or call to discuss the matter. Here's the problem. The slave has a rifle or shotgun that is not an assault weapon. You go to the police precinct with the gun, unloaded obviously, and they examine it. Here's the deal. You're standing in a police precinct. You're surrounded by cops. They got the gun in their hand. Who's got the better end of the stick? Now, here are the permit things, okay? Behind the camera. Okay. Okay. You can't see this, but I'll read it. This is the make of the gun. This is the caliber of the gun. This is the type, bolt or semi. This is the model number. And this is the reason for it being confiscated. Holds more than 5 rounds. Now, in New York, most of New York State, especially my area, no rifle or shotgun registration. I go to the store, I buy the shotgun or rifle I want to pick up, it's mine. Handguns, when you go to the dealer gives you 2 copies of a form. He stamps it. You get it notarized. I get mine notarized by my mother's assistant. Okay? And you mail it in to your county seat. In my place, White Plains. County seat takes 1 copy, puts it on file. Other copy sends it to Albany, the state capital. Here's what this says basically. I already bought this gun. Here's the registration. And they take your word for it. In New York City, you have to go to the police precinct physically. Show them the gun. They examine it. And if they like it, you keep it. If they don't like it, you don't keep it. Yeah, I know. Universal health care. Yeah. Now, and they know you got it, so you can't lie. And they register everything. Now, holds more than 5 rounds. Up until recently, you could buy a Ruger 1022 in New York City if you paid Ruger money to give you a special magazine that would not hold 5 rounds. Will not hold more than 5 rounds. Safety check. Here's an M1 carbine. I've never seen a 5-round mag before. I have a 15 and a 10. But in theory, you could take a 5-round magazine and put it in here. By the way, this gun has been banned in New York City by name since '91 anyway. But in theory, if this carbine feeds more than 5 rounds, 10 round, 15 round, 30 round, I can't own it in New York City. That's why I don't live in New York City. I would never live in that fucking place. Okay, the Ruger Scout rifles, that new bolt action 308 they have, 10 round magazine or 5 round magazine. You could buy it in New York City previously, get a 5 round magazine for it, and take it upstate for hunting. Well, because a 10 round magazine is available, guess what? You're not having it anymore. It's gone. If your rifle or shotgun has a 10 round magazine available, a 6 round magazine available, gone. Even if your rifle and your magazine holds 5 rounds, gone. This is a big problem for the shotgun community with different size shells. For instance, James Tresman, who has the 2nd strongest lawsuit against the SAFE Act. He had 2 clients, now he's in a class action suit. Allergies, sorry guys. One of his clients claims, I have a Remington 870. Depending on how long my tube is, it can hold X rounds or not X rounds. You know those little shorty shells? Eric and Barry from Iraq Veteran 8888 showed them off a couple times. They're like 1.5 inches long. They don't feed that well in some shotguns. In theory, you can get a Remington 870, put a tube on it. The tube holds 7 rounds of 3-inch. Or 8 rounds of 2 3/4 inch, or maybe 10 rounds of, I'm just making this up, in theory to give you that idea. Depending on the magazine length, or depending on the tube for shotgun, you may or may not be able to put more or less ammunition. So if you live in New York City and you have a Mossberg 500, you're fucked. Even though your Mossberg 500 has a 5-round tube, you could put a 7-round tube on there. So you're fucked. They're taking that shit. Is there going to be a lawsuit? I hope so. There wasn't one last time they did this shit. That's why they got away with it. Cuomo got away with the SAFE Act because New York City did not fight back in 1991. If you don't fight back when you got the chance, you're going to get fucked later. Believe me when I tell you that. Later. What about my classic now? By the way, you live in New York City? You live in New York City, forget about a fucking BB gun. Don't even fucking think about it. Yeah, it's unloaded. This is my Red Ryder BB gun. We're gonna now John Browning made, the stock is fucked up. Be careful with it. John Browning made the Winchester 1895. Most long guns of the time had a tube to put the ammunition in. They had to be flathead because bullet, primer, bullet, primer, bullet, primer. You know, the bullet here is up against the primer here. Bullet, primer, on line. And if you have a pointy bullet, and it's the primer, the round in front of it, not good. So John Browning, all those genius, said, take the tube out, put a fixed magazine in, open the breech, this opens up here, and you drop 4 rounds in like we do today, on top of one another. I'm going to post a link for Hickok 45. Hickok 45 is showing one. Very, very nice rifle. Now that magazine was fixed. Can't come off. You upload in the top. You have pointy bullets. Teddy Roosevelt used to fucking kill rhinos with his shit. Anyway, yeah. Now, the Browning company makes the BLR, Browning Levered Rifle. It is an update of that rifle. The magazine detaches. Lever action, no magazine tube, strictly for hunting. You don't want to have a 4-round magazine or a 5-round magazine when you're defending yourself. Something is better than nothing, but you don't want it. You want the maximum amount of ammunition when you're defending yourself, which is why the state patent is unconstitutional. And this shit is too. So now, in theory, I think you're only allowed to hunt with 5 or 6 rounds in your magazine when you hunt. In theory, if I lived in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York or some shit, and I had a Browning lever rifle, and I had the 4-round magazine for hunting, but there were wild animals that were coming around my ranch frequently, wolves and shit. And it does happen upstate. Believe me, I live in fucking Westchester. We get fucking wolves from time to time running around here. When I was in community college, we had wolves running around the fucking lot. Okay, so I have a Browning BLR. When I hunt, 4 rounds. But if animals come onto my property, or if I wanted to use it as a defensive rifle, you know, animals come onto my property, I want to defend my property from the animals. Or humans, if I want to turn it into a defensive rifle. In theory, I might have a problem with the lever, but in theory, I might be able to go to a gunsmith, get my Browning BLR, and say, please, make me a 6-round magazine. I don't know if it'll fit with time, but anyway. Okay, now I have a BLR with a custom-built 6-round magazine. Guess what? When New York City finds out that I have it upstate, they're going to come to New York City and they're going to say, you got a Browning BLR? We just found out that a higher capacity magazine than 5 exists. Surrender it. So, if your rifle or shotgun physically could hold a 6th round, it is done. Okay, it is done. The guy with the Ruger 1022 with the custom 5-round magazines, that is done. The Ruger bolt action hunting rifle, you got it specifically with a 5-round magazine, that is done. Mossberg 500, 5-round tube for you, 6-round tube for the guy in Westchester, it is done. Okay, this is done. And I heard through the grapevine a few months ago that the People's Republic wants to go to 4 rounds for that rifle. There is no limit, my friends. There is no limit. Okay? This motherfucker Bloomturd, he is gonna get out. And he cannot fucking tolerate this bullshit that we the people, or they his slaves, have arms. He cannot fucking tolerate it. Okay? He doesn't want any of the slaves to be armed, and he doesn't give a fuck. Okay? Now, there are a lot of idiots, and Cuomo's propaganda site was one of them. His secretary did a propaganda thing for him. There are a lot of jerk-offs and idiots and assholes that say, no one is going to confiscate your gun. Suck my dick. No one is going to confiscate your gun. Even as it happens, they still deny it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, let's assume that, thank you, clock. In Eastern Europe in the 1930s, the Jews, the blacks, the gypsies, the gays, The mentally disabled, the physically disabled, the Catholic priests and the Catholic nuns are being loaded onto the boxcars at the train station on their way to Auschwitz to be exterminated. Or whatever other camp was in the area. And someone is on the train track saying, no one's gonna take you away. As the Jews are going into the cars. No one's gonna take you away. Okay? Don't piss in my ear and tell me it's raining. This is fucking real. Bloomturd cannot fucking stomach the Second Amendment unless you're protecting his children. Then it's a different story. So I am warning you, my friends, this is happening. Now, in Florida, which is where I will most likely go if this fucking shit don't stop, because I'm not gonna fucking stay if Cuomo stays and say, I'm not fucking tired, I'm out of here. In Florida, for a government official to tell you to register your gun, he goes to jail. That's right. If the sheriff in some county in Florida knocks on your door and says, go register your assault rifle, he goes to jail, not you. And this is the shit, they want this shit spread in the rest of the state. And they call us paranoid, they say we're full of shit, well, fuck you. Fuck you, motherfucker, fuck you. I gotta go to Dunkin' Donuts, get a cup of coffee, my fucking head is killing me. Okay, guys, take care. There was friggin' oil outside, the oil truck outside, oh, my fucking head. Take care, guys.